Welcome to episode 115 of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Saturday night. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in this Wisconsin sports world here. And again, as I talked about last week, it's going to be recording around this time. Just a weird how the schedule works this week. Again, for those who don't know, I'm going to be in Vermont for 5 days. So it'll be an interesting experience. I'll be leaving tomorrow morning. So, it's a finance econ trip is what we're looking at for these next 5 days. But don't worry, I got you covered with all sports content. I have some exciting stuff recorded with tournaments and stuff that I'm actually that'll be up on TikTok at Your Sports Crew. I've posted a few of them already. Some might be seen as some controversial picks I have, especially in the world of baseball. But don't worry, I got you covered. Right, this right. This episode will be talking about right now. If you're listening on other platforms, I might be in Vermont right now, but I'm making sure, of course, that it's going to be relevant content involving things that are going to be taking place on Tuesday, May 23rd, for example, and so forth. So, all relevant stuff here. And then also on Tuesday, there'll be an episode of Journey to Millionairing. We were talking some fantasy football dilemmas that are still going on, right? There's still, we're talking with best ball, for example. What guys are you going to take at what spot? And there's some toss ups there. We're talking like Mike Evans' spot right now. Antonio Gibson going at RB40 was one. So, if you're interested in fantasy football, best ball, that stuff's going right now. $3 million prize to the winner. Yeah, we're talking about that stuff on, and again, that's gonna be on Tuesday. Wednesday, Maddie Sharonbrock, episode of that is gonna be on. She joined the show here on an episode. Sat down with her talking kind of the collegiate club volleyball experience. So, hearing about how big, right, the NCVF, right, is, and just talking about that, and then also just how she's how it's gone, right, the first few years. So recommend checking that episode out as well. And that'll be on Wednesday, and then we'll have some betting content coming out at the end of the week. But otherwise, again, if you want to see content every day at Drew Sports Crew on YouTube, I said that wrong. At Drew Sports Crew on TikTok, and then YouTube, Drew Sports Crew. Check that out. And also, right, Drew Sports Crew on Instagram as well. Got it all for you there. So that's the announcements wise. That's what we're looking at here during this week. And again, this is episode 115. So yeah, time flies when you're having fun, but we'll go here right away to we're going to be talking about when I say relevant content, we're talking about the playoffs right now for EWC Spring Sports. The ones we can talk about, I'll talk about that here. And then also, we're going to transition into week 9 of the Milwaukee Brewers, some week 8 recap. The week actually isn't done as of recording, right? We still have a Sunday game, but I can kind of tell you how it's fared, my prediction. And I'm not going to give my official record prediction on here. You're going to have to check out the content, the posts. But I'll go through those matchups right now and just kind of my first thoughts, impressions. So we'll get through that here. Let's start right away with EWC Spring Sports. I talked about the conference leaders, conference champs, and whatnot last week. We're going to be focusing on the playoffs, as I said, in this one. So we'll start with baseball. We're going to go to D2. Yeah, Division 2. We're going to go and look what's going on there for baseball. So the first games are going to be Thursday, May 25th. So coming up here. So I said Tuesday, that's for softball. Don't worry, Thursday here we have some games already. And we're going to go right down to the bottom right for this Division 2 bracket of sectionals 1 and 2. And we'll find Chilton. We'll find them as the 1 seed. And I'll talk about Chilton being D2 in baseball, but D3 in softball. So I found that interesting, right? We talked about how dominant this Tigers team has been this season. So again, them as the number 1 seed, rightfully so, right? And then Sheboygan Falls, they are the 9. They have to go to Wapaka, the 8. Other teams in sectional 1 or sectional 2, my apologies. We're looking at right, so like Xavier. I thought Two Rivers was over here. Actually, right, it's gonna be Sheboygan Falls and Chilton. So Two Rivers got put in sectional 2, like also in sectional 2, but the top right. And Two Rivers, so they're with Freedom. They got to go to Freedom on Thursday. So interesting how they kind of balanced out the sectional, right, to years past. It almost seems, right, we talked Two Rivers getting some sort of conference realignment in football, right? They're kind of playing some of these schools that they would be playing in that new conference, right? In this WIA playoff game here, and that'll be on Thursday. Is that one? So there's 3 teams in Division Two, and then we'll go to Division Three, and that's where we're gonna find, right, a section full of EWC teams. So we go again to the bottom right of sectional 2 in Division 3, and that's where we'll find number 1 seed Kiwani, not an EWC team, right? But we'll find them playing the winner of Lord's Academy and New Holstein. So New Holstein, they get to host that game, the 8th seed. Roncalli, the 13 seeds, going to Mishkat, the 4 seed. And then we have below that, we have Valdor's getting the 11. And what is going to happen here? Valdor's has to go to Howard's Grove, the 6th seed. The winner there has to go to Southern Door. Not ideal. Brilliant gets a home game. They're gonna play Amro, number 10 Amro. 7-10 game there. Winner goes to Kiel. So kind of seeing where the other schools fared and kind of where they ended up. That's exactly what we're looking at. So that's like Division 3, Division 2 for baseball. We're going to be monitoring those games next week's episode. We'll be going through kind of the results of these first two and then giving a preview for those regional final games it's going to be those regional games Tuesday, May 30th, Wednesday, May 31st. We'll be going through both of those, right? And then we're actually going to go right away to softball because, baseball, right, 2 divisions there, divisions 2 and 3. Those are the ones you need to know. Sectionals 2 for both. So that's how we're going to find these EWC teams. If you want to look again, and special thanks to the WIA tournament pages, they're providing all the info we need. We already had some softball games, so I can actually give you some scores on that. So the softball games were actually held Thursday, May 18th. So again, when you're hearing this, Tuesday, May 23rd is going to be those next set of regional games, but there are already some regional games. We can talk about how it's fared. I'll start again, Division 2. Only makes sense. But again, I don't think we actually have any the EWC teams in Division 2. They actually all ended up in Division 3. Softball does a lot nicer in this case. And actually, Two Rivers, my apologies, they end up being there. Also, Sheboygan Falls Kohler are a co-op team. Looks like, again, Grafton won that one via forfeit. But then Two Rivers, they played at Ripon, the 9 versus 8. Ripon wins that one in 5, 17-4. But otherwise, not anything else going on there in Division 2. Let's go to Division 3. That's where it actually ended up really nice in these sectionals. All the EWC teams ended up together. So, talk about making it easy to follow for something like this, or if you all want to follow, very, very easy, right? Division 3 sectionals, sectional 2 again, bottom right, all teams are there. Pretty easy. They get thrown in with like Kiwani, Southern Door, Mishicot, right? But New Holstein gets the one. They played number 8 Valders, and number 8 Valders, they play them because they got the win over number 9 Sturgeon Bay at Valders. 11-1 was the final there. And then number 5 and number 4, so number 5 Kiwani, another number 4 Southern Door squaring off, and the winner of that game is going to play the winner of this New Holstein Valders game. Again, number 1 New Holstein. We talked about how dominant New Holstein and Chilton have been in both sports. What's interesting is, I think New Holstein was deserving of the one, but they had a tough spot to see. They were not given, the people who decide the seeds here at that coaches meeting or whatnot, were not given an easy call here. Number 2 Chilton. Right? We talked about how dominant Chilton was in softball as well. They're given the 2 seed. It feels as if, they would be the 1 seed in any other sectional, right? It's just the matter of how this seeding ends up going through. So unfortunate there, but again, Chilton being the 2 there, you can almost expect a Chilton-New Holstein matchup. Brilliant gets the 6th seed, and they will play Mishicot, the number 3 seed. And then, right, Kiel and Amro, the 7 versus 10 game, it was at Kiel. Kiel wins that one 11-1 and 5. They are going to be playing Chilton. So Kiel and Chilton, Brilliant Mishkat, Kiwani Southern Door, New Holstein Valders. So we do have to find Roncalli. So I did say it was mostly easy. So they're going to take us to D4, and we're going to find them most likely with, Manitowoc Lutheran and other teams included. I found them here. So we have Roncalli, the 3 seed. They're going to be playing Reedsville, the 6. So they're going to play the winner of, if they win that game, Roncalli or Reedsville, winner of that is going to play Howard's Grove, the 7, who won 9-4. Or they're going to be playing number 2, St. Mary Catholic. Manitowoc Lutheran, of local interest. Manitowoc Lutheran got the 4 seed. They are going to be playing number 5, St. Mary's Springs. So there is your EWC squads in girls softball and then also baseball as well. I was looking for girls soccer, right? Because there's some info out on that. However, it's unfortunate, but it's the brackets aren't really put together. At least what I'm seeing right now. If they're not updating it yet, I apologize, but I do not have it. The first games are Tuesday, May 30th, however. So next week's episode will be focusing on that, as I was not able to cover it, as I don't have sufficient information to cover it, right? How are you supposed to talk about these games, talk about the matchups when they don't update it? It's not updated yet. Last updated May 5th. So we'll be waiting on that, but just wanted to keep you all updated why I'm not covering those other sports on that, because I unfortunately don't have the information I talked about, even last year, right? Spring sport information is tough to come around. So if you all have any information, anything you need to send in, feel free, send it in at True Sports Crew at EWC _ sports. I can check both of those, get that information out on the show. So that's going to wrap up the EWC side here, right? It was like, okay, not much, but that's where we are. It's playoff time. We have some baseball talk now. All right, we're going to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. Unfortunate week so far, but I talked about it was a tough week. Tough upcoming week of games. I had the Brewers, though. I had them 3-3 this week. Right now, we could potentially go 2-4. So, tells you the record prediction challenge, not a win this week. However, if the Brewers win tomorrow, right? I mean, it's like, okay, I didn't get the record right. I had a perfect record last week. Predicted the games. I had Brewers losing to Tampa on Friday because Shane McClanahan had not a good matchup. Hauser, I'm looking through it. They lose that. They lose today. Right, I had them losing these first 2 games. I had them winning tomorrow. So hopefully, if my predictions are right, I have Tampa Bay losing tomorrow. I have Freddie Peralta, right, that he's pitching. I have the Brewers salvaging game 3 of the series. I had them finishing 3-3. I had them winning. The series kind of flopped. So with St. Louis, I had them winning the games they lost. I had them winning Monday, Wednesday. Monday, I couldn't have been more wrong. They lost 18-1. Right, it was disaster. Right? It was one of those games like, okay, everything went St. Louis's way. You win Tuesday though, 3-2, and then right, you get shut out. It's the bats, right? The bats haven't been there this week, and that's kind of what I was afraid of. You play the Cardinals when they get hot, but that win on Tuesday. Is it fair to say it was one of the best wins of the year? Right, they win 3-2. Piumps comes up big. Williams comes up big. Weimer unfortunately misjudges that ball. If you have not seen that, it was unfortunate. But, what happened in this one, right? Was Wade Miley? It was Wade Miley exiting with injury. IL stint for him, and they're able to, they lose 18-1 the day before. Miley exits after 5 outs. How are you going to win this one? And it came up. It came down to the bullpen. Bullpen pitched phenomenally in this game, and then getting those big hits. Brian Anderson had a solo home run in this game. Adames had the RBI double. Weimer had a home run, right? But just the bullpen getting together on this game made it an exciting win for the Brewers. But then Wednesday, you get shut out, right? Not good. And then you get shut out Friday, so they didn't score runs for 18 innings there straight between those two. And then Saturday, what do you say, Eric Lauer? We've talked about the velocity being down. He's a guy who I prefer to pull up like the baseball savant numbers, right? Looking at kind of that for him because, he gives up. It was 3 home runs today. Every ball was hit hard. It was the unlucky stuff that we can see in like fifth or, some of our stats. Sierra are some of those ERA indicators that kind of tell us, what kind of batted ball data we're looking at with the hits. But what we saw today off air, Eric Lauer's throwing, the balls were just flying, right? And right, talking about Lauer, right, 27 right now too. It's like, okay, ERA's 5.5, right? Strikeouts, he's not even striking out a batter per inning. And yeah, he's throwing the fastball 44% of the time, but it is not effective. I mean, the fastball. Um, I got the numbers up right now, and I'll try to like sum this up for people who might not understand some of these Statcast stats, but I can tell you hitters are expected to bat 264 off of it, with expected weighted on base average of 90 of 375, exit velo of 93 miles per hour. I tell you that's a lot. And then the other big one for it is the expected slugging is 548. That is a pretty big number for your fastball expected slugging percentage. So hitters are hitting his fastball for extra bases and they're hitting it hard. Is the summary of it. And also the fastball velo. I'll get those numbers up here. Right? It's an absolute disaster right now. Can't I find velocity? There it is. But just this whole Statcast page, it's all blue, which means it's in the lower percentile, which is not a good indicator. His expected ERA is almost 6. So, I can tell you those are not going to be numbers we want to see. His fastball right now is averaging 90.8. It was up to 97, 95 last year. So, I mean, we're looking at, a guy he's going to get sent down. I think if it's not tomorrow, I think we're going to hear Monday, but otherwise they're going to put him back in the bullpen. But he was rushed back in the rotation. We know they're going to skip his turns. He pitches 5 2/3 scoreless against Kansas City. It's like, okay, it's against Kansas City, but he pitched well. He was looking good. Let's bring him back in. And sure enough, it didn't work out. So frustrating there, but yeah, Brewers were kind of pinched because Miley's out. They get Hauser back, but Woodruff's still out. And it's like Peralta don't want to have him go deep into games in this point tomorrow, especially. So, it's just kind of monitoring these guys. It's in May, not a good week, tough opponents. But, it doesn't get easier. Brewers play Houston for 3 Monday through Wednesday. So transitioning here into the Brewer Prediction Challenge, right? Brewers play Houston for 3 games Monday through Wednesday. These are 7 home games next week. Love to hear that, but 6:40 p.m. on Monday, 6:40 on Tuesday, 12:10 on Wednesday. So earlier games too. But okay, not Houston's defending World Series champs, and they're just an absolute pitching lab, right? The Brewers are considered the pitching lab, of the NL, but Astros really, they've been able to put together, bring up some guys who have phenomenal stuff. So, going to be a tough series, probably scoring runs is kind of what I'm alluding at, and that's what the Brewers have struggled with. Not looking forward to those 3, but then you get San Francisco, a team again the Brewers have struggled against, it seems, the last few seasons. You get San Francisco for 4, 6:40 on Thursday, 7:10 on Friday, 3:10 on Saturday. That's the Christian Yelich Patriotic Jersey Day. Yes. And then Sunday at 1:10. So 7 games. I'm not giving my prediction yet. I want to wait until we have more information regarding pitching matchups and such. So I'm going to keep those in mind. But again, 7 games on the slate, 7 home games. So we love to see that, but not really with the opponents there. But going through baseball, I want to talk going through the Brewers here, talking through some of the stats, team leaders, WAR leaders. I always love to ask the question. If you all want to guess right now while you're listening, who is leading the Milwaukee Brewers in WAR so far this year? If you think through it, it's like, okay, it's right, wins above replacement. So I'm thinking about that. The leader in WAR right now is William Contreras, right? Catcher, good defensive numbers, one of the best defensive catchers, and has an OPS plus of 100. So, right, league average, but having an OPS also of 721 from the catcher position is kind of, that's going to do it. So he leads the team with 1.1 WAR. Christian Yelich, 0.9 WAR. He's actually, if he keeps up the pace he's at right now, he's actually playing like, he's worth the contract he's currently under. Although that is just 7 home runs and 23 RBIs so far this year with 9 stolen bases, that's actually enough to, play at 746 OPS, 106 OPS plus. Defense has been okay. Arm still not there, right? It won't be there probably for the rest of his career. Then, right, Willie Adames, Devin Williams, Brandon Woodruff, although not healthy right now. Garrett Mitchell's still 0.7. He's a guy who we really wish we have back. Owen Miller's at 0.64. Well, we got to talk about that. Owen Miller has been phenomenal, right? In the time he's had, he's 29 of 84. Translates again to 345 batting average, 847 OPS right now. 1 home run, 7 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, right? And then also 4 walks to 12 strikeouts. So he's looked really well. I mean, having him kind of be that utility guy, and then also having like Winker DH, although, right, the ejection today, I guess just to go on that ejection, the rules were followed correctly. Yes. All right. It does not matter if the pitcher's ready or not. It matters if the hitter's ready. Hitter was not. It's just a terrible, like, pitch clock is okay. The way the pitch clock is being enforced, not great, and that's kind of how we expected it, but pitch clock's good for baseball. But the enforcement has not been good, right? It's been terrible, just upsetting people, which I get, maybe, on the other side, frustration might occur as well, but oh well. Winker again being the DH. His numbers have been okay this year. Hasn't really lived up to he still has yet to homer in 103 plate appearances, so that's where it's kind of like it's been okay, kind of underwhelming. And Terang's cooled off. Teleza's cooled off to a sense. Still OPS at 847. He's also still at 10 home runs. Willie is still batting 211. Like the average for for this Brewers team is never going to be the strong suit. Hint for average. But those were kind of, the averages for every guy except Owen Miller have fallen off big time. Talking through pitching, right, here before we wrap up, right, Burns has really found, kind of his groove as of late. ERA plus is kind of back where we expect it to be. ERA itself is around 3.5. Lauer again. It says Lauer's at 4.5. I don't know if it updated after today's start, is what I'm thinking. But, like Williams, Pyomps, Bryce Wilson, Strzelecki, all these guys have looked good. Also, Hobie Milner. The whole bullpens look good. I'm going to shout out again Elvis Peguero as well. In his limited time, 12 2/3, he's looked pretty good. And it hasn't been like the strikeouts. It's been more of just like the soft contact, which has been really good to see for Peguero. Also just complimenting this Brewers bullpen. Trevor McGill as well, a name you might be hearing more. Pitched a scoreless inning, so it's good to see too. Happy what I'm seeing with McGill right now. We know he's got a plus fastball in terms of stuff, and with Baseball Savant, right, in terms of spin rate too. So kind of like the intuition behind that trade for the Brewers with the Twins. It's worked out so far. So like we're seeing from McGill. But otherwise, rotation. Honestly, Hauser pitched very well on Friday, right? As much as, I'm not confident in Hauser as I was in 2021. I was a proponent of having him actually piggyback starts with Lauer when they both were Just think 2 years ago, like Hauser and Lauer had better ERAs than Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff in the second half of 2021. At post All-Star break from that, second half of the season. It's one of the craziest stats to me. And now 2 years later, they both, Hauser is starting to pick it back up, but Lauer just lost it. And it's just really hard to see, man. So that's been something, but I'm feeling optimistic for this Brewers team. Get healthy. Glad Colin Ray's going to be back up. He pitched decent in his starts, even though it's an 0-3 record. He's pitched decent. He's done enough where, I know the FIP and some of the other underlying numbers don't show it, but he has, he's limited some hard contact, and I don't mind him being up right now in that spot start role. Yeah, we need Miley back. We need Woodruff back. Main two guys, and that's what we're looking at. Also, Luis Arias, he's playing in some simulated, he's playing some spring games, like extended spring training games or whatnot. So I think we're gonna have him back. I'm thinking like 2 weeks at least. So it's kind of the timetable. Looking forward to having Urias back. Also, Voit was rehabbing already with Nashville. So 2 guys who are going to be coming back soon. Some corresponding moves will be made. But that is kind of it here for the EWC, plus Brewer Talk right on the Saturday night, or it'll be aired right for you all listening Monday. You'll be hearing this. So again, announcements, but I talked through the schedule. You have all that down. At Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Drew Sports Crew, YouTube. I'll say it one more time. And again, I want to thank you all for listening here to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.